Hi everyone, this is Tony Testaverde from WordStream. We're just waiting a couple minutes here, but we're just about to get started to make sure everyone gets on the line. Hold on for one more second here, but myself and my colleague Tim are ready to get going. Thanks for the time. First off, thanks everyone for taking time out of your day and your busy schedules to join us. I'm sure everyone is busy with the holidays coming up, but we're excited to hopefully add some value to your lead generation efforts today. We're also excited to team up with our friends over at Kickserv because although we offer different software solutions, we both have a common goal of simplifying processes for small and mid-sized businesses. At WordStream, we have hundreds, if not thousands of clients in the services industry that we help every day. So we're excited about the synergies we have with Kickserv, and we're most excited to try to help you and your business. So we'll get started here. I'll dive through some of the first slides here, and then I'll introduce my colleague Tim, and we'll get going from there. But thanks for joining us. Like I said, the main topic today is paid search and social for people in the services business. And we'll get going. So a few housekeeping items here. We're recording the webinar, so we'll make sure we follow up. You guys can have it in your email. If anyone is missing from your side, we can also forward it along to them as well for future reference. And then at the very end here, we'll have some time for Q&A. In the GoToWebinar, there is a section for questions. You guys can ask them there. Ask to just hold till the end here, and we'll get through all of them. And that's pretty much it. So on my side, quick intros. I'm Tony Testaverde, Director of Lead Acquisition for WordStream. I manage our paid search and social efforts in-house, so I have a lot of experience with large accounts. But prior to joining the marketing team, I actually led our managed services offering, which is basically our full account management offering. And in there, I worked with hundreds of clients from HVAC to roofing to pest control, you name it. I've probably seen 10 accounts in the space. And I'm also fortunate to have our Senior Director of Global Sales, Tim Warner. I'll let him introduce himself, but Tim has over 10 years of experience working and selling in paid search to SMBs. And he specifically asked me to join this webinar, with his regards to experience in this space. So we're excited to have Tim, and Tim, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks, Tony. Appreciate it, man. Hi, everyone. I've been with WordStream for almost 8 years, and for about 4 years before that, I was working only with SMBs in the service industry, helping them navigate Google AdWords, and social ads wasn't even a thought at that point before that time frame. But as soon as I found out Tony was talking to people today and about this subject, I was really amped up and wanted to get in here and help with anything that I can, because I do have so many years experience working with folks that are potentially going through some of the struggles that you are. So I think today will be a lot of value, and if you guys have any questions, please feel free at the end to ask anything you have.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim. So quick plug, like I mentioned, we're a software company. Our software focuses on making paid online advertising easy and simple for small to mid-sized businesses, and we can deliver impact in as little as 20 minutes a week. We'll get into software for you guys a bit and show you how that works, but first want to talk through some industry data and best practices up front. So quick agenda. We'll cover the industry data like I mentioned. We'll talk through paid search and social challenges and opportunities, but also comment out challenges that we see across the board in almost any account. And then we'll talk about strategies for success, and we'll dig into some cool features of the software that we think can help, and finally some Q&A at the end. So some specific industry data for competition and cost per click on Google AdWords. So you may see the space you work in here. The big takeaway here is that the cost per click is hyper competitive in this space. So the quality of every click is very important because it's money out of your pocket every day.
Hey, Tony, you've worked with multiple customers in every single one of these industries. Any surprises for you?
No, not at all. I'm actually surprised. I think some of these are a little bit low, and it's a big range. If it's a super hype competitive keyword, some of them can actually be upwards of $30, and some can be lower if you're a little bit more specific. So I'm not surprised, and over $10 a click is not something that I'm not used to seeing.
Interesting.
Awesome. So again, for example, if you're a plumber, you don't want to waste money on someone searching for plumbing supplies from Home Depot. You really want to make sure you're targeting those with the most intent. So something like I mentioned, like contact plumbers in Boston, is much more relevant for your business. You're probably more willing to pay the price there, but because clearly that prospect has high intent.
And just so everyone's aware too, below the line is on the display network, correct? And everything above there is for the Google search pages?
Yep, so we'll talk about the display network a bit, but search has the highest intent, so that's why it's the most competitive. Display is cheaper, but again, pretty competitive on both sides, but particularly on the search side is going to be super competitive. So in this next slide, we dig a little bit deeper. So we actually did a study in the top 25 keywords that are most expensive on Google AdWords. Of those top 25, top 4 were actually in this space. So you can see here, cleanup and restoration services, over $40 a click. Plumber by itself, $39 a click. These are super expensive. And like I said, something can be cheaper if you're a little bit more targeted. But again, something super generic, just like the term plumber by itself, can be upwards of $40 a click.
Yeah, and I can't even talk about how many people I spoke with that said, hey, PPC or Google AdWords doesn't work for me, and all of a sudden you go in their account and they're bidding on plumber, and they're bidding on pest control company. And hopefully today, some of the information we're going to give everybody on the call, you'll see how you need to get a little bit more advanced than just bidding on these head terms.
Exactly. So we also get a lot of questions, kind of what is better for me. So we want to touch on social and search for Google specifically. And the answer is probably both, but I'll share some data here with you guys so you can see. So Google, like I said, average cost per click across the whole board is $2.32. This industry, like I said, is much more competitive. Home improvement, customer services ranked among the highest CPCs. On Facebook, you actually see the average cost per click is less, about $1.72. Still competitive in this space, but overall, across the board, cheaper than Google. So the winner from a cost per click standpoint is definitely Facebook. However, when you actually think about it a little bit more, those that are actually looking for you, the highest intent, are going to be on Google. Those are people searching for your business. But on the right side, you can see that Facebook has super sophisticated audience targeting. You can target people based on their job and all of the information that they give to Facebook. So the reality of it is that these things both work together as a winning combination, not just Google alone or just Facebook by itself. We'd like to see both of these together, used in conjunction, and we'll share you some data and some interesting things about how those can work as well. So one quick note, and I wanted to kind of prove out that concept a little bit more. People that are only searching on Google or display by itself, what actually happens is, when you combine the two, people actually come and start to search for your individual business more often. So if you're doing Facebook, you'll actually see about a lift of about 34% that people actually start to search for your business on Google, not just plumbers in Boston, but potentially Tony's Plumbing Services in Boston. If they're starting to see your ads on Facebook, that combination can be pretty powerful. So you actually get some branded searches as well, which can be super cheap or cost nothing for you if you use these things in conjunction. So I'll turn over to Tim. He'll talk through the main strategies here about Google AdWords and Facebook and how we can help.
Awesome. Thanks, Tony. So everyone I assume on this call and is managing an AdWords account, has had an AdWords account, has dabbled into Facebook, or is thinking about doing some online marketing. And what I've seen over the course of my career is just people are going online, spending money, potentially not knowing what they're getting in return for their investment. Maybe spending a lot of time trying to figure out what levers I need to pull on the back end of a Google AdWords account to get a better return of my investment. Where do I go to understand what my customers are actually searching on? How do I prove out my ROI model? Spending a lot of time in there. And a lot of the conversations I send around are, hey, you're really, really good at running your company. You're really, really good at being a roofer, or being a handyman, and incredibly skilled at that. But when it comes to managing an AdWords account, it's just so in depth that it's hard to get that return that you're actually looking for. And so what we've been able to do here at WordStream is really understand what works and what doesn't work for someone that's a small business owner, trying to figure out how to run that AdWords account. And we've really developed a system here that is allowing all of our customers to manage their account in 20 minutes a week and get a much better return on their investment than just trying to go to Google, or even outsourcing to an agency or to a Google AdWords reseller where, hey, maybe there's a black box and you don't know exactly what the return is for your investment, or it's just very expensive. So I'm going to walk you through really just a 6 or 7 step process of being able to manage your account much better than trying to outsource it or, again, do it on your own. And Tony, if you want to hit that button. You know, the number one thing we want people to understand, and this is where Tony started off, is that it's hard to be successful when you're bidding on general terms. And if you look at that first example where it says Boston Electrician, it's going to be hard to compete on that one. And the reason it's hard to compete is because there's going to be so many of your competitors that are willing to bid on that because maybe they're not knowledgeable enough to understand what people actually type in to find a business. And that very well could be someone's first search, but then they're going to iterate off of that search and they're going to get a little bit longer tail. And by getting a little bit longer tail, you're actually going to pay lower of a cost per click, and you're going to get a much more qualified person to your website. And I'm sure everyone on the phone has heard this before. And, you know, it's a very common thing that a lot of people in my position or Tony's position is going to tell you to do. But, you know, it's really difficult to actually go and find all of these longer tail keywords. And so, you know, we do have a system here where people are allowed to see exactly these long tail keywords, find them unbelievably quickly, and add them into their account or create a whole new campaign or ad group directly around these. And it becomes so much more powerful than just bidding on these short, very expensive, generalized search terms. And we help all of our home improvement companies do that. Big one here, big one, and I can't stress that enough. Negative keywords. Now, a lot of people I've spoken with in the past think a negative keyword might be, you know, something like bad or a swear word or something inappropriate. But really, a negative keyword is just a word that Google is using. Someone has typed in and Google has matched you to that word that really is not performing for you. And there's so many different ways that Google can match you that you really need to take control of your account, and you really need to take control of the business, your business, and how it's being presented on a Google search page. And so what we're doing is we're actually helping our customers identify what these negative keywords are, how much they're actually wasting on these keywords, and we're helping them bring that spend directly back into their account to use on things that are working for them. And that's another way how we're helping them increase the return on their investment. This is a difficult one. Identify high-cost keywords with low returns. Unless you're tracking your conversions correctly through AdWords, it's going to be hard to figure out which are the high-cost keywords that are not giving you a great return. And so we want to make sure that we are tracking conversions correctly, whether that is a form fill or someone sends you an email or someone picks up the phone and calls you directly. And we want to be able to attribute that exact form fill, that exact call, that exact email directly back to exact keywords, so we know the performance of those keywords. And imagine a world where, you know, you understand exactly which keywords are bringing you customers and which ones are not. And the people who are actually using this type of technology are far outperforming anybody else in their space. And again, it's a tool that we're giving our customers, but monitor your performance over time, right? And this isn't just something you look at every single day or every single week, but you look at this information month over month over month. And, you know, sometimes your costly keywords, maybe they are even bringing you the highest return ticket that you offer, right? So it is okay to spend more on a keyword if it is bringing you high returns services that you might offer. But this is information you do need to be looking at. I would say, Tony, what, monthly? Right.
Yeah, at least a monthly basis, if not weekly. And, you know, back to that plumber example, oftentimes what you'll see is when they look at an account, is that potentially one or two keywords are taking all the spend and driving all the phone calls or driving all the leads. And you'll see it is that mainly that generic term, but it's also costing them the most money, and they're also paying the highest cost per click on that term. When you peel it back and you actually look at the search queries that are being triggered by the word plumber, underneath it, you're probably going to find those more specific terms that you can add into your account and bid lower and be more relevant and not have to pay as much. And then you're going to see all the waste. So you want to take a look at those regularly, because what can actually happen is one or two keywords can basically cannibalize all your spend, cannibalize your account, and you're probably going to be paying a premium.
And how many times have we seen this coming through?
Yeah, I mean, we do this every day in our services business.
Another very hard thing to go and do is reviewing and adjusting your bids. And I'm sure everyone has looked at their AdWords account and said, do I increase or do I decrease? And I'm sure if you talk to Google, they're going to tell you to increase. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're looking at each keyword individually, and we're lowering or increasing based off the performance. And some of that performance metrics could be a really good click-through rate, right? Maybe people really like your ads. It could be a high quality score. You know, hey, if Google's giving you a high quality score, maybe we need to boost that a little bit more to get more visibility. Maybe it's a conversion metric that we're looking at that we want to increase. If we're decreasing, it could be the opposite of those things. If it's hard for us to get a good quality score, maybe we don't want to spend a premium on that every single time someone clicks on our ad. If our cost per acquisition is continuing to increase, maybe it doesn't make sense to spend so much money on that keyword. And so it's this monthly adjusting and reviewing of our keywords based off the performance of that. And again, very important to do when you're managing an AdWords account in-house. And one of the last couple things I wanted to talk about before we get into a couple more advanced topics is splitting up your ad group. So every single day, my people here are speaking with customers and looking at their ad groups and seeing anywhere between 50, 100, 200, 300, 400 keywords per ad group inside of their account. And again, that can run havoc, right? And you should take a step back and start thinking to yourself, how relevant can one advertisement, right? One ad, how relevant can one ad be to 100 different keyword ideas? It's impossible. It's impossible. And so what will happen there is that it really will play with your quality score and negatively impact your quality score if we are loading up ad groups with keywords. And so we want to make sure that we're getting specific, very detailed and smaller groupings of ad groups so that our ad techs are speaking directly to those small groupings of keywords. And Tony, 10, 15 keywords per ad group?
Yeah, you definitely want to keep it as tight as possible. You want to keep it manageable, so you don't want to put one keyword in one ad group and load up your account with hundreds of ad groups because it becomes impossible to manage. But you want to keep them thematically grouped together so that messaging can be consistent. So you may have, if you're in the Boston area, maybe you're targeting people looking for Boston plumbers, but you may also be targeting people in Roxbury, which is like a suburb of Boston and so forth. So that ad group should be separate and should read Roxbury. So we just want to be as granular as possible, but at the same time, you don't need 40 different ad groups for Roxbury. It could be Roxbury plumbers, Roxbury plumbing service, and so forth, and that messaging can all be consistent, and you should see high quality scores, relevancy scores from Google, which should lower your cost per click and help your average position and show up higher on the page.
Cool. And the last thing we want to talk about from a Google AdWords perspective is using expanding text ads. So if Google's going to allow you to take up twice the amount of space, do it, right? Do it on the search page. And you're going to push your competitors further down. You're going to become more relevant to that search, and more people are willing to click on your ads, which is obviously going to increase your click-through rate, which will increase your quality score, which will decrease your cost per click and decrease your cost per acquisition, which therefore will increase the return on your investment from Google AdWords. So if you are using ETAs, awesome, congratulations. If you're not, let's start thinking about it. If you need help with those, we're more than willing to jump on a phone and walk you through how to do that properly.
Definitely, and this continues to grow, and Google continues to expand the size of their ads. No surprise, they want to get paid for their placements. So you want to make sure that you're always as relevant on top of it, and we still see accounts daily that come through that are not taking advantage of these features that have been released over a year ago, and now just more recently there's another line to be tested. So they're going to continue to do it, and we want to make sure that you're there and you're beating your competitors with more lines of copy, taking advantage of all the features. And again, every day we see accounts that come through that are just still not to par.
All right, something really, really cool, which a lot of people are starting to do. And this goes back to the question that Tony was asking at the beginning of the webinar, which is Google or Facebook. And the people who are really dominating online advertising and really getting an awesome return on their investment are doing both. And they're actually combining both. They're not using one versus the other or doing one and another. It's doing both together at the same time. And what I mean by that is, if you guys are running Google AdWords accounts, which I'm assuming most of you are, 95% of the people who are coming to your website that you're paying to get to your site, whether it's organic or paid, it doesn't matter. You're doing something to get these people to your website. 95% of those are leaving. They're gone. They're going someplace else. And that's not fair, right? You did a lot of work to bring these people to you. Let's use their information that they gave you, right? And the information they gave you is that they they came to your website, right? They used a search word that you bid on or you matched to. They clicked on the ad that you wrote, and they came to a landing page that either you created or you paid someone to do it for you. And so what we're helping our customers do is actually get ads directly back in front of those people that already visited your website back on Facebook. And so when they start, because people don't really log out of Facebook, they don't really log out of the Google AdWords account, so you can actually start connecting the two. And so we're helping our customers, and it's really super effective. And I see this every single day when I go home and I jump on Facebook. Is I start seeing ads come up of people that are service-based industries that are in my neighborhood, and it gives me ideas on people who to call. And we want to make sure we're getting your ads directly back in front of these people who came through on Google, so that we're reinforcing your brand directly back in front of them. Now, something else that's really cool that's happening too that we're helping our customers with is we're actually helping get their ads in front of their friends who are exactly like them, and their friends who are exactly like them, and so on and so forth. So we're creating this huge community on Facebook of getting your ads in front of your customers who have already come to your website. So you're continuing to build your brand socially. And you know, if they click on your ad, great. We already saw the cost per click. It's very, very low. But if they don't, that's brand equity, right? That's brand recognition. Now you can continue to get in front of all these people in your service area, so that when it's time to pick up a phone, you know, maybe they're not coming through Facebook, but now they go to Google and they just type in your company's name and they're coming directly to you, which is a beautiful thing. So you're influencing them to come from one platform to another. They know exactly what they're looking for, and that cost should be, you know, pretty low at that point.
Definitely, and you guys, you know, you're paying a lot for people to get to your website. Like we mentioned, it can be upwards of $30 a click, $10 a click, and that's great. You want those people there, but oftentimes you need to show in front of that person 5-6 times before they actually make a decision. They're going to go and they're going to look at competitors. They're going to contemplate. They're going to come back and do another search. So you've already paid for them. You already hit your website and you've cookied them. So you've already essentially paid for that person, but you need to get back in front of them. So the Facebook piece is great because that reach is huge and there's some awesome targeting options there. And you can also do it on the Google side. So we want to make sure we have remarketing set up for Facebook and for Google, so you can expand your reach as much as possible. And those clicks on remarketing are significantly cheaper. They're probably closer to $2 or $3 or $1 a click, depending on your space, versus that $40. You don't want to have to convert someone 6 times or have them come to your website 6 times through just Google search. You want to get them when they're at home, when they're on their laptop at work, when they're on their mobile device, you know, in that passive time. It's like, oh yeah, I remember this company, build some brand equity with them, and then when the time comes and they're ready to make their decision, they're going to be most familiar with you, and you won't have to pay for them, you know, that premium price 6 times over. You'll start to pay cheaper clicks in that regard.
Awesome. So just to summarize everything before we move into a little bit more information that I promise will be super quick. AdWords accounts need help, and they need another eye on them. Whether it be through a technology solution like our AdWords Performance Grader, which we'll introduce to you guys at the end, God bless you, or having one of my experts on our side just taking a look with you and seeing if there's holes or seeing if there's opportunities, which we're more than happy to do. And then use some strategies, right, to be successful. What are you doing to add in new keywords? How are you optimizing your bids? Have you ventured into Facebook? Are you adding negatives on a weekly basis? Are you splitting up your massive ad groups that are just killing your relevancy score? Are you going after costly campaigns and seeing what that is actually doing to your account? And are you optimizing your ads on a monthly basis too? Really simple stuff that can be really difficult to do, and I'll show you what we're doing to help people out as well.
For sure, and one more key point is, you know, to get in front of it, get doing it regularly. You don't have to spend a ton of time, but we live on a mountain of data, and we see how often people are touching their accounts, and every day we see accounts that aren't even touched on a monthly basis and that are just burning dollars. So even if you can just get in there for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour a week, you're going to be ahead of your competitors.
All right, cool. So that was a ton of information. I apologize for that. I hope your head's not spinning. But we can help you with these. And I'm going to just super quickly take you guys through what our customers are doing in 20 minutes a week to really crush the return on their investment for before they were working with us. So just to give you guys a high level, and then I'll show you 3 different tools that we have. We're going to provide a weekly actionable customized recommendation that is super, super easy, super, super fast to get through. That's really just designed around increasing your ROI. We're going to see exact opportunity areas in your account that you can come in and just really act upon quickly and get immediate return. And then we're gonna, I mean, it's gonna cut down at least 4, 5, 6 hours of work every single week taking these actions versus trying to go directly to the platforms and try to do it on your own. So Tony, just 20-minute work week. We talked about, hey, what are the most important things we could be doing on a weekly basis? Obviously, adding keywords, adding negative keywords. We want to make sure that we're looking at our keywords that we got to take bids up and down on. You know, we want to optimize our ad text. Monthly, we want to run these against each other and see what's working, what's not working, and then continue to iterate on that. And then, you know, create some additional ads as well. So first thing, most important thing, adding negative keywords. Tell Google you don't want to show up for certain words that you're either getting impressions for or spending money on that have nothing to do with you. So this is one of our accounts here that we're looking at, and we can see that there are some incredibly irrelevant traffic that they're getting that is really killing, one, their click-through rate, two, their cost. Right, so Tony, I don't know if you can go back and if you got this in the screenshot, but we can see at the top of the page there where it says savings per year. No, we are identifying that for our customers on a weekly basis. And we're helping them understand what they're wasting on and then reallocating this back into their account. So, so if they come in here once a week, and this is just one of their ad groups that you're going to see here, one of those suggestions here, you can see the information we're giving them. And all they need to do is just either accept or reject those, apply it, and it goes directly right into their AdWords account. And so this is our customers taking control of their account and telling Google what is not working for them and to stop showing me for these words. And then the next slide we have is where we can start reallocating that spend, right? That bad spend, that wasted spend. We can reallocate this right back into our account to keywords that we're actually not even bidding on yet, right? These are keywords that Google's showing us for that we're currently not bidding on, but we're actually getting impressions, we're getting clicks, and we're getting conversions on. And so what happens is by adding these into our account, now we can start getting what they call quality score help from Google. And we can lower our cost per click, which is going to lower our cost per acquisition. As you can see, the keywords are long-tailed, right? So as we talked at the beginning of the presentation, you know, being able to find these long-tail keywords can be very difficult to do and very time-consuming. Our software does it for our customers. You don't have to do it, and they're not random suggestions either. These are words that your potential customers are using, that you're getting clicks on, and that you're getting conversions for.
So one key point here too, Tim, is that every day, about 20% of Google searches are unique. So you can go in, you can add a bunch of negatives or add a bunch of keywords, but that following week there's going to be a whole nother slew of them. So you want to make sure that, again, that we're going in here regularly and finding them, because you know, every day the trends are shifting, people are searching for different things, new competitors enter your space, and then all of a sudden your costs go way up because a competitor came in and you're showing under a competitor's term, which can be a good thing, or maybe, like I mentioned before, maybe like Home Depot or Amazon all of a sudden entered your space and drove up your cost per click. You want to make sure that you're kind of weeding out those search queries because they can cost you a whole bunch of money. And to Tim's point, going in there regularly and finding the terms that work for you, and particularly those terms that are actionable, right? People looking install, financing, repair, like these people are actually typing in verbs here and they're trying to take an action. So we want to go in and find those terms versus just bidding on something like roofing in this example. Awesome. So the last piece here is just, we do also have a whole bunch of alerts around the Facebook front. So what Tim mentioned, you know, Facebook is a big opportunity. It's Google and Facebook now. Facebook's growing its market share more. We're not going to dig too deeply into each one of these alerts here, but a few key things. One is we'll let you know. We want to make sure that you are getting set up with remarketing. And then a few things here that we'll do as well. We'll look at ad copy. There's some optimizations here. There's some lead type ads in Facebook that are a little bit more advanced. That's something we can talk about. But the one at the bottom here, which is interesting, is a lookalike audience suggestion. So to Tim's point, once we get our search stuff in order, once we get our remarketing in order, then you can start to go after people that are similar to those that are in your remarketing group. So if someone visited your website and they left, we're going to go after those people. Then on Facebook, you can actually go after people that Facebook seems or knows is similar to them. So they have similar interests. They live in the same geographic area. They're in the same demographics. You can start to expand that reach, because oftentimes, particularly if you're in a small geography, you're going to get those people in that moment, but it's hard to expand your reach. So once you're seeing those returns and saving some dollars and you're looking for that next level of expansion, that's when you're going to look into things like lookalike audiences and start more prospecting. But up front, you want to take care of those low-hanging fruit items. So clean up your search queries, get remarketing set up, and those things that we know work. And then you'll go into that phase of starting to prospect and go after customers that may be not aware of you just yet.
Yeah, and guys, just 2 more pages before we get to any questions you may have. And these are just free tools that I want to introduce you guys to. So one is the performance grader. If you've run it, awesome. I hope it helps you, and I hope you're getting the reports every single month, and hopefully they're giving you a little bit of guidance as to what you need to do to improve. If you haven't, I would absolutely run it. It will tell you how you're competing against your competitors in your industry with similar spend range. And then it's going to give you some points that you need to go and fix, you need to go and improve. But it says over $5.5 billion in ad spend analyzed. I think that's actually closer to 15 billion today, so I think this needs updating. But an incredible amount of data that we have here for people that are specifically in your industry, and how they're performing. And we're essentially just taking a lot of that information, what's working, what's not working, and we're actually putting a lot of those tools back into our WordStream Advisor, which is another free tool that you can come and test out, which is some of those screenshots I showed before. It will show you exactly what keywords we should be adding as negatives, what keywords we should be adding into our account, what ads need to be rewritten or just tweaked a little bit. It will show you all your query data, and you can go nuts in there. It will give you a lot of awesome information, and even give it a test, right? See how fast you can go through our 20-minute work week, and how fast you'd be able to manage an account if you ever did decide to work with us. And we'd love to help you. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to fill out one of our forms or to pick up the phone and call us. More than happy to have a conversation with you and talk about the current state of your account. So before we get off and before we say thank yous, I want to throw it up and see if we have any questions. And Tony, maybe we'll do like 3, 4, 5 questions, something like that. And
yeah, definitely go ahead and in GoToMeeting here. There's a section there for questions. Go ahead and ask away. We have a couple in there that we'll get to. If you have any, now's a good time to ask. We'll follow up, like I said, with an email, with the webinar, and some of the tools that Tim mentioned. But for now, we'll jump into a few questions here, and then if there's any more, we have a little bit extra time here, we can certainly get to them. So first one here is, you mentioned expanding on Facebook for display and remarketing. Should I spend dollars on Google Display? So that was in one of the slides. Tim talked about it briefly about the Google Display Network. So good question. We definitely recommend taking advantage again of remarketing. That's as much as possible. Like I said, those are the people you put effort into getting to your website. So you really want to get in front of them again as much as possible because they're the most qualified and the clicks are also cheaper. So again, the recommendation is to focus on Google remarketing and Facebook remarketing first before expanding to anything more generic on Google and Facebook and that general audience targeting. However, again, there's opportunity there for expansion and for prospecting. But to Tim's point and all the pieces that he covered, get that stuff in order first before going onto the display network, because that can be kind of the Wild West. There's a lot of people spending dollars there, and it's really easy to burn your budget. And oftentimes Google will set you up there and you won't even know you're spending on display. And you'll burn more than half your budget there in a quick instance. So make sure that is taken care of and wait on the Google Display Network unless you really have a well-optimized account.
Yeah, I mean, how many accounts have we seen come through that say search and display, right? But they have no idea.
Yeah, so sometimes the default option there will kind of put you on both because Google will try to get your money there. And what you'll see is because the display network is so large, those websites all over the internet, like almost 80% of the web, is monetized by Google Display Network. So we don't want to spend our dollars there first. We really want to get those people in the searches first.
Yeah, and I love when people come through and they ask about display, and the answer is yes, it's awesome. You should do it. But hold on. Let's get your house in line. Let's fix up your account. Let's make sure you're ready to scale for success, and then we'll absolutely help you get there.
Awesome. There's another one here. Would you recommend spending money on other social networks like Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So I'll take that one. I'm sure Tim has some color. You know, we definitely, like I said, take care of the big two. Google first, because we know that's where the industry is getting the most success. We want to be there in that moment of intent. Focus on search, then remarketing, and take care of all the things and targeting. There's more that we didn't show, and there's a lot of targeting options within Google and Facebook that we want to take advantage of before we think about other social networks. Instagram is part of Facebook's network, so if you're doing remarketing on Facebook, you're going to show on Instagram, so that's great, and we've seen good success there. So that's open there. Tim, I don't know if you have any other color.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it depends on what your industry is and, you know, where you're located. You know, if we're talking, you know, SMBs in the home service industry, I'd say absolutely Google, absolutely Facebook, absolutely Instagram if you clean up everything else. I don't really think Twitter or LinkedIn would be a good fit, but again, it's a conversation we'd love to have with you if you're interested in going down that path, and we'd guide you whichever way would give you the best return to your investment. What do you think? Time for one more?
Yeah, I got one more here. So out of all the recommendations, which one would you start with first? So you said all are important, but for me, and maybe Tim has a different opinion, I trim out the wasted dollars as quick as possible. So that's the negatives, that's the search queries, you know, where you're burning dollars, put that back in your pocket, and then what Tim mentioned, start to reinvest in things that we know work. So knock out the sort of the gory, very glaring negative keywords. That's where you're going to save your dollars, and there'll be more that come, but there's probably a handful in there that you want to take care of right away.
I'd say first thing, run the AdWords Performance Grader to get a better understanding of what your overall performance is and give you a little bit of direction. But if I was managing an AdWords account, I would absolutely go through the search queries of someone's account and try to determine what's working, what's not working, and add negatives as we go. And after I do that, I start looking at new keyword ideas and add those in, and then I start looking at new ad text that I want to start rewriting and start testing and go that direction. And you know, once you continue to do that over and over and over again, I think you're going to get in a pretty good place.
And there's one question here that's good to end on in terms of next step for serious pricing for WordStream.
Pricing, it depends. A lot of our pricing depends on how much money you're spending per month on Google AdWords and Bing and Facebook. And then another way to say that too is, you know, commitment length and which way you want to go with us. But, you know, we have pricing on our website, but we have much more customized pricing if you want to speak with me, and if you want to speak with one of my colleagues here, we're more than happy to go through our pricing structure with you.
Yep. So most immediate next step is you'll get an email from us with all the things we covered here, and you'll have my contact information, Tim's contact information, and you know, we'll be able to get that squared away pretty quickly. So
yeah, shoot me an email, follow me on LinkedIn, or, you know, if you can find me on Twitter, I find me on Twitter too. But if you have any questions directly, shoot me a quick email, and I'd make sure I get right back in touch with you as fast as I can. Awesome.
So thanks, guys. Thanks everyone for attending. We really appreciate everyone's time. We know it's getting tight here with the holidays, so we hope everyone has a great holiday. Especially want to thank our friends over at Kickserv for helping us out here. They have a great product, innovative clients, and we're thrilled to be able to find some synergies there. And again, thanks for everyone. Hope everyone has a great holiday, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Take care.